My name is LaQuincy Reed, and I'm here with Darcy Reeves. You're the executive director at the Chisholm Trail Arts Council.
Yep.
If you could just kind of introduce yourself and kind of tell what you do here.
Okay, Darcy Reeves. I've been with the Chisholm Trail Arts Council since October of 2012, so I guess I'll be celebrating my 10th year this coming October. When I first started, I knew nothing about the Arts Council in itself, so it's been nothing but a learning curve for me, and I knew nothing about art. I'm not an artist, so we were talking about that earlier, and I just go in there and try to manage what I know, and it's been a privilege to get to know a lot of artists along the way. Not only do we do the art gallery itself, but we have 4 main programs: art gallery, the Seatac Live concert series, we have an art education in schools, and then we have a summer youth art program, Arts Explosion, that we do annually since 1991, as far back as I can trace that. So a little bit about Seatac. We've been around since 1976 as an organization here in the Duncan community. It started as the Duncan Arts and Humanities, and then in 1998 it had changed over into Chisholm Trail Arts Council. So just a little brief history of Seatac. The art gallery itself, we started back in 2015, so it's still fairly new for us. And again, when we first started it, I knew nothing about artwork and galleries or how to set things up or anything like that. Our mailing list was really small when we were sending out invitations, but over time it's definitely grown into a true little diamond in our community, I believe, and it's been a good thing for us and for artists, and expanding and getting to meet people like you and a lot of other artists across the state of Oklahoma. So it's been a lot of fun.
I'm glad that you enjoyed meeting me, because when I first met you, I was kind of at a low point. I didn't feel like I had a whole lot of good things happening for me, and I came and was like crying on your shoulder almost, and you were very open and listening and saying, hey, we'll do whatever we can to support you, and I really appreciate that. And I was talking to you earlier, and you said you don't know a whole lot about art, you don't know all the art terms. I said, that's fine, that's great. What artists need a lot is administrative workers and people that are good people person, and you're really good at both of those, and
Thank you.
You're a benefit to the arts community, and I'm very glad to know you, and you mean a lot to me, and I don't know if you know that.
That means a lot to me, so because I never thought I would be able to touch anybody's life like that, and so that means a lot to me, so thank you.
So a little bit about your background. How did you navigate to where you are now?
Well, originally I was in retail, and then I got to stay home with my kids and raise them, and then I was in that volunteer mode, stay-at-home mom, volunteer. And how I ended up in the art world was the current president of the Arts Council at the time, Cindy Parks, was a teacher at the school I volunteered a lot. I was a PTO mom, and I thought, well, I'm here so much, I thought I might as well sign up as a substitute and get paid while I'm here. And she said, do you need a job? And I said, no, not really. I just thought I'd sign up as a substitute. And it kind of piqued my interest. What are you talking about? So I called her up the next day, and she said, well, we have a director position opening up at the Chisholm Trail Arts Council, and I think you'd be perfect for it. And I'm like, huh. And I said, nah, I don't think so. And anyways, I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, you know what? I feel like I'm a leader. I was in that management position in the retail business. And so it did kind of get my interest a little bit more. So I called her, and we talked a little bit more about it. And next thing I know, I'm putting it in my resume, and I had an interview with the board, and I got the job, and I was job shadowing the lady for 2 weeks, and she left, and I was all in and by myself, and I was learning. So I have a great board. I started out with a great, amazing board, and they're a really active, hands-on board. So, and without that, you have to surround yourself with great people in order for great things to happen. And if you don't have that support of a board, then I don't think I would be as successful as I may be right now. So, us working together has been a great opportunity for me to learn more about the arts. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, what's really great about your story is that it was when I was a teacher. The kids would be like, "Oh, I hate art," or "I hate this," and everything like that. And I'd say, "Hey, I understand you don't like it, but no matter what you're doing, you just need to try your best at it, and you need to try as many different things as possible because you don't know where your life is going to take you." And it sounds like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, it doesn't sound like you ever intended or planned to be the executive director of an arts council.
No.
That was not your goal, or
Not my goal, and it's one of the hardest jobs I think I've ever had. Asking for money every year, the same people, the same small community. When you're challenged with other organizations in that community to ask for the same dollars from the same people, has been one of the hardest jobs I've ever had to do, and it's tough. And just trying to find out how to make more successful programs and make them better than what they were when you first came in. And I'm always looking to how to improve things, somebody come behind me and tell me how to make it better, go, yeah, let's do it, because that's what I want it to be, as best as it can be, And sometimes I think we always get stuck in a rut and stuff like that, saying we get lazy sometimes. So having a good board and a board that rotates is important, because then you get fresh blood in, and then they kind of revitalize you and stuff like that. Going out to workshops and stuff like that for nonprofits to teach you a little bit more about how nonprofits work, and new ideas on how to fundraise and things to kind of remotivate you and stuff. And then, of course, the Oklahoma Arts Council, they provide those bi-yearly art things that the Oklahoma Arts Council provides those. I can't think of the conferences, and go to those each time that they're available. So anything to learn as much as I can is going to only make me better at what I do, because it's going to be egg on my face if I don't know what I'm doing. So I always want to do the best I can. So
yeah. So you talked about fundraising and reaching out to the community. One thing that I have noticed is a lot of times, especially in terms of volunteering, it's normally a lot of older people, especially in the arts. Yeah. And I was wondering, do you feel like that's a challenge, getting younger people involved in just the volunteering aspect and helping? Yeah. And what do you feel like, or what are some programs, activities that you do to kind of help try and reach out to the younger people to get them involved?
With that, I think the best way we reach out to the youth would be our Arts Explosion Camp. Again, it started back in 1991. That's as far back as I could trace when we first started that program. And that's a week-long camp, and it started from 3rd through 5th grade students to attend, and we've expanded it to where once those 5th grade students are no longer, they're too old to attend that group, we created a teen class. So now those kids can roll into the teen class. And then a couple of years ago, we created a class for the kindergarten through 2nd. So we now can reach out to kids from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So to me, that's planting the seed of they're learning about art, all different types of medium, getting excited, and then they come back each year. And then now we actually have parents who have attended Arts Explosion and now have their children coming and doing it. And when you get those students who've come, sometimes those teenagers want to come back and volunteer during the daytime class. So because they get it, they've had fun, they understand the importance of it, or how much fun they've had in the interaction, and then the end result of all those fun projects that they got to create. To me, it's one of my favorite programs, because you get to see the end result and how those kids drag their parents' hand around during the family reception and get to show off all of their work that they created that week. So the Arts Explosion Camp, to me, is the best way to reach out to our underage kids, to bring them in for volunteers. It is still tough, though, because I think kids nowadays are more spur of the moment, instant gratification, and it's hard to reach out to kids who don't know about art, honestly. Duncan is really pretty blessed with having a good art program, and Marlowe is also in our district, and we have a strong art program within the school districts. Some of the outlying schools, Comanche has an art program, but some of the other outlying schools within our county don't have art offered. So we're trying to take art into those schools. But just trying to reach out to other kids as far as volunteers, it's really hard to get those kids involved and even buy tickets to go to the concerts. I mean, the tickets are $10. Sometimes we offer $5 coupons if they go to a matinee for an educational outreach. It's hard to get those kids to even come back for a $5 coupon.
Yeah.
You know, so it's tough. We're trying to figure out ways and creative ways for them to come in and volunteer, and we take any suggestions you may have.
I don't have any suggestions. Like the biggest issue I had as an art teacher was I couldn't get kids to bring out a pencil to art class.
Right.
I made it a point to tell them, hey, I'm going to provide everything you need. I'll provide the paintbrushes, the paint, the pastels, the colored pencils,
Right.
pencil sharpeners. The only thing I need you guys to bring to class every single day is a pencil with an eraser.
Right.
And I figured that wasn't too much to ask because they would need it for math class, English class, whatever class that they had.
Subjects, yeah.
And they could do that. They couldn't do that, but I guarantee you they could buy as many bags of hot Cheetos as they needed.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know, that instant gratification is a real kind of strong driver for them.
Right.
And I'm not sure if it takes a while for them to slow down. It took a while for me to slow down.
Right.
And realize, you know, what are the things that are going to impact my life more so versus what's going to, you know, make me happy now. And I still struggle and fight with that.
Yep.
And I feel like as you get older, you get a better perspective of, you know.
You do, and I think the younger adults, that's also another category as far as being actively involved on the board is the younger generation, let's say 20 to 30 years old. Getting them involved in buying tickets or being members and actively supporting the arts through membership and stuff. They're busy with their lives, you know, they've got young kids and stuff like that. But they're also the ones that kind of want to sign their kids up for those. They're the first ones to sign up for Arts Explosion and things like that. So they see the fun need, or the need to have fun with the arts and stuff like that. But how to get them really in and committed and supporting. And I'm not saying that there's not support out there. It's just how to get more, you know, because we can't just depend on the older generation. And for art, for like the art gallery, for example, purchasing art, it's easier to go to Hobby Lobby and buy disposable art. When you get tired of it, it's easier to sell it at a garage sale when you got it at Hobby Lobby for half off or whatever discount store that you want to buy it at. But to put an investment into a piece of art, you usually don't do it until, one, you have money to be able to purchase it, and then it's just harder for people to put that much money into it. So that older generation, they can afford it, they get the importance of it, and so it's just hard. It's just those age gaps that we just got to figure out how to reach out to.
Yeah. One of my good friends, he's an art collector, and he always makes the point of, you know, when you buy and collect art, or if you want to buy a work of art, you don't want to be impulsive, but at the same time, if you really like something, you don't want to overthink it and overanalyze it, because the artwork that you don't buy is the artwork that you
Regret not getting.
Yeah, because there's been times I think a lot of these, you know, big collectors have, you know, been to shows and things, and they're like, well, you know, and they waffled on it and didn't buy it, and then later on they really regret it because that was something that they really loved and liked, and they can't get it.
Try working in a gallery.
Yeah.
And seeing awesome artwork every time you come in. And then I personally started collecting art just since I've worked here. So I was one of those disposable artwork type things. And of course my kid says, you need more family pictures on the wall now, Mom. So, and I get that. I've seen some artwork that I wish I've had now that I don't have access to now. So, there's a lot of regrets.
Yeah.
So.
I think it kind of means a little bit more. I know it means a lot more to collectors whenever they get a chance to meet the artist, talk to the artist, and, see what the artist produced. I even had a collector come up to me and say, I liked your work of art. He says, the reason I bought it is because I like you.
Right.
And so there's kind of a twofold, like you really like the artwork. Then on top of that, you got to meet the person and know the story.
Yes.
And it means a little bit more than going to, Walmart and buying Live, Laugh, Love and hanging on the wall.
Exactly. There's that sentimental value to it, that you know that person and you know the story behind it. And you'll always have that memory for you. Yeah. And there is one thing. I was actually talking to Alyssa. She's my assistant. And what I tell some artists is be careful not to tell too much of the story of what you just painted, because as a buyer, I had someone who said, man, I had this whole image in my head of what this story and this painting was, and then I had an artist come up and tell me, hey, let me tell you about that. That's just my so-and-so coming up, and that's all it is. And it's like, you just ruined my whole dreams of this painting. And so sometimes don't tell too much about your painting. Maybe approach that artist and say, or that potential buyer and say, tell me what you see. What's your story about it? What do you think about it? And do you want to hear my story? Yeah. And don't offer too much, because then you might lose a sale out of that. And so I've learned that too. So I got
a great story about that too. There was an artist at the Buffalo Bills show I do in Cody, Wyoming, and he won like the grand prize, like best in show, I think it was, for sculpture. And he did a sculpture of I think it was a swan on top of a tortoise, or a crane on top of a tortoise, and somebody came up to him and said, "Oh, this is great. I mean, this relates directly to Chinese mythology or Chinese story about the tortoise and the crane." He's going all into it, and the artist went, "Yep." And he was like, "So why did you sculpt it?" He said, "I just wanted to sculpt a crane on top of a tortoise."
Right.
But if you read all that into it, who am I to tell you, "No, that's not it. I just wanted to sculpt a crane on top of a tortoise."
Right.
So, I thought that was really interesting, because I asked him, I said, it was a really great sculpture, and the tortoise kind of looking up at the crane. He's like, "Dude, why are you on me?"
Right.
And it was kind of that funny. He's like, "I just wanted to sculpt
but I like your story too." Yeah. So, no, and I think it's important to kind of look at both sides. And that's where I feel like, kind of going back to that whole, I'm not an artist, but I see people and I watch how people are interacting. And so I watch the feedback and see how they're reacting. And I see how the artist is all excited to tell their story about, this is where I was at, and this is what I painted, and oh my gosh, and that day it was so cold, and this and this and that. But that person may think it was a sunny day when they did it, and they think sunny. So, just be careful about talking too much. You may talk yourself out of a sale. Yeah. So, but just my opinion. So,
no,
observing.
That's like I said. You're great at your job because you're observing and you're learning, and and I don't think at this point that you're just learning. I think that you know what you're doing. Oh. And we can always learn more and everything like that. And I think you're being a little bit too modest, because I think you're doing a really great job here. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is you mentioned one of the programs that you had for the youth. I forget the name of it. Can you repeat that?
Our education in schools.
Okay, and then you had the camp. What was it called?
Arts Explosion.
Arts Explosion. What are the other programs that Seatac puts together?
Okay, the Seatac Art Gallery, and then the Seatac Live Concert Series.
Okay.
Right.
And then you have a show. How many shows do you have open calls for?
For the gallery?
Yeah, for the gallery.
For open calls, we have one in August. That's our membership drive. Okay. That we start our membership drive. Our calendar year starts in July. Mm-hmm. And so that show is in August. And we usually kind of put that call out, a few months before. Mm-hmm. And I open that up to people of all different levels of experience, mm-hmm. because I believe, well, one, we're Duncan, Oklahoma. And we're not Oklahoma City, the metros, we're not New York City. So, everybody needs that stepping stone, and let Duncan be that place to get your feet wet, learn how to hang a piece of art, learn how to have everything wired and ready to go, and hit deadlines and things like that if you're a new artist and you need a place to start. So, and then, you know what? You might hang your art right next to somebody who really, like Eve, for example, right here, who's very well accomplished and still is learning herself. But just the contacts that you would reach through the gallery, you might learn something from the artist that you're hanging right by. That's the way I look at it. So that call for art is free for people to enter, and that's at our membership drive. The second call of art that we do is in December, and that's for our holiday art show and sale. And that's a per piece entry fee, and that's because we do a prize. A judge comes in and judges it, and we have 3 categories, and we do prizes for each category. Okay. This past year, we've kind of introduced something new for Ctec members only. So whether you live here in Duncan or wherever, if you're a Ctec member, in June and July this past year, we offered to Ctec members only if they wanted to hang artwork, because it was usually a dead month, 2 months for us. If they wanted to hang artwork, they can bring it in, kind of like bring 4 or 5 pieces in. If something sells, the people take it, they can bring something in and replace it. So we wouldn't hold any receptions or anything like that. It's just up to the artist to promote and market their own artwork. We would do our best through social media, but we wouldn't put any money to like advertise or anything like that. Whereas a normal art gallery, we try to advertise, invitations and things of that nature. So that's somewhat new for the gallery itself, is the June, July Seatac members only kind of call for art, if you want to call it that. So
one thing that I appreciate and that you mentioned is, this isn't, the hugest gallery. It's a good size,
right?
And you kind of know your constituency. And one thing that I tell a lot of artists is, kind of build your resume, right, and to get into shows, because having lulls and showing like years where you don't have anything, you're not in anything, that kind of doesn't reflect very well on you. I don't think it does.
It's just like a job resume. Yeah. If you have too much time in between jobs of no work, then it looks like you're not actively producing and trying to be out there. But and I think we're that great opportunity. Like I said, I think it's a great stepping stone, especially for those people who are scared. And we've had a lot of people, they've always wanted to do something like this. They always practice, and they're, the secret artist at home and stuff. Well, bring it. Come on. Who are we to judge you? Who am I to judge you? That's for sure. And so just bring it and be proud of it, and let's celebrate your accomplishments. So it's fun.
You've mentioned Eve before, and her paintings are up over here in the corner. And I haven't known her very well, but I've known her through her work for about 3-4 years or so. And I've seen her grow as an artist. She's jumping leaps and bounds every single time I see her, and actually one of my favorite paintings is right here, done by her.
Yep.
So that's really cool. We're talking about someone starting and putting their artwork somewhere, and then using that as a stepping stone to get confidence and keep trying and keep building their work and their resume.
Yep. She said on Instagram, she said it was one of the best nights of her life, and as someone who helps someone do that, that's just a cool feeling. And one of my whys, every nonprofit has a why, or that story. And one of my other stories was a guy named Larry Gillette. He's a local guy, and all he did was those paint pours. People see that all the time now, but this was way back when. And we asked him to be a featured artist. And so he came in, and the former Cindy Parks, the former president, said he'd be great. Okay. So he came in and looked at the gallery. We didn't have anything hanging in here. And he said, well, how much space do I have? I said, you have this whole place to fill up. And he said, are you kidding me? He said he's never had that much space ever to fill up the walls. He's always been given little spaces, or 2-3 paintings maybe at a time. He literally filled this whole place up. He filled up the balconies, the banners. Every inch of this place was his artwork. And after that night's reception, he said it was the best night of his life. And I thought, how cool is that we were able to give him the best night of his life.
Yeah.
And, just something that he did in his house, And what I think was really neat about him was the fact that he donated so many of his paintings in the community for auctions and things like that, because he knew that the money that was raised from his paintings were going to a good cause or things like that. And we're actually going to honor him this January 29th at our Duncan Area Arts Hall of Fame.
Okay.
As an ambassador of the arts. And
That's
so
great.
We hope you can make it there, and I'm just proud for him. So that's a cool thing.
This 29th?
Yep.
Okay. My uncle's 50th birthday is coming
Oh.
up. And he's one of the reasons I got into doing art. And I told a lot of people ask me how I got started doing art, and my uncles and I used to sit at the table in my grandmother's sun porch, and we'd draw superheroes together.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I think we're going to do something for him, but
That's neat.
I'm not supposed to tell anybody.
That's a word.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
So this is kind of big on, everybody's, list. So how has COVID affected how you've had to manage and navigate the space? Not just the space, just how you conduct business every day.
Well, prior to COVID, our membership was at its highest that we've had it since I've been the director. And so I was proud of those numbers and stuff. Obviously, when COVID hit, financial strains and things of that nature, our membership dollars went down and things like that, which we knew was going to happen. So we're slowly going back uphill again. So hopefully this next year we can get back up to pre-COVID numbers. We're not too far off, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm actually proud that our community is still supporting the arts even through this pandemic. As far as our programs go, we've not canceled any of our shows. We've postponed a couple and rescheduled a couple. But my biggest goal, and I won't say our biggest goal as a board, we agreed that we would not shut the doors of the Arts Council. We felt that it was important that, the gallery's not like everybody's running in every day, so it gave a place for people to come during that time, a quiet space. People came and looked at art, and they knew that it would change out in a couple months or a month or whatever, and they would come in again and get to look at new artwork. So that gave people a place to go and visit and look at artwork. Concerts, one of the concerts that we had last year, he said we were the first show of his year, and we were the last show of his year. So I think that Duncan, Oklahoma, Chisholm Trail Arts Council actually paid that artist. We were able to employ that artist that one year. We were the only people that employed him. And I thought that was awesome. That's a cool story. And so we felt that it was, like I said, important. But once you shut down the doors, I think of the arts especially, it's hard to get people to come back in and say, hey, okay, we're open again. It's hard to get people into the arts sometimes anyways. We're not a restaurant. We're not a clothing store. We're not those basic needs. We're kind of, we're an extra, we're not an essential need, you know what I mean? And so just to shut the door would be the wrong thing to do. So that is one thing I am proud of. As far as how we handled COVID itself, we provided masks and hand sanitizer when needed, and we let it be the people's choice. That may not be a popular choice among other people, but we let that be the choice of the people that came in to the gallery or whatever. If you aren't comfortable, give me a call and I'll let you know when we're low in numbers and people aren't coming in. And I've had people come in when they knew nobody else is coming in. So I respectfully respect their decisions. And then the people who didn't have a problem, they still attended the receptions. We tried to do the single packet container type food, and that was a hot mess sometimes. And food wasn't really eaten, so we were wasting a lot of food. But people actually ate more where the food was out. But again, we let that be a choice. We didn't serve near as much, We tried to be cautious about that as well. We went from glasses to disposable glasses and stuff like that. So we did keep a lot of that stuff in mind, but we also tried to be respectful to both sides of the conflict, I guess, if you want to call it that, of what the pandemic brought to the community. And society, basically. So
there are varying degrees of comfort level. There are people who are, rightfully concerned about their health because they have, health conditions, and they're taking care of people that may have health conditions.
Yep.
And then you have people who, aren't really as concerned, and so you're in a really tough spot because this has to be sustainable.
Right.
And you've got to make it sustainable. You got to do something because you can't stay still even during the pandemic.
Exactly. And you have your members who are giving you money. So what did the members want? They're the ones that are supporting us. So, kind of get an idea of who we know and who's supporting us, and go from there. Our Arts Explosion Kids Camp, we usually serve about 150 students. We went and that covered the 3 age groups. And then we went down to 36 kids. So we did only 18 kids in each age group during that main COVID spell. So we lost, a lot of income based off of that, but we did what we felt we needed to in order to, have the 6 feet spreading apart, face masks, and we had face masks that were handmade and donated to all the kids and stuff. So, we did what we felt was right, and, we went for it and moved on. You got to keep moving. So you stand still, you're going to get forgotten. So,
well, I think you did a great job. I've been to a couple of events during that whole deal, and, it's tough. And you got to have really strong shoulders to, shoulder a lot of that burden. And I'm thankful for people like you that are in the arts that kind of make sure that the artists have a place to show their work, and just are, like I said, just a people person, and, willing to help out and, be that person that artists kind of need in their lives. So what do you guys have coming up now and in the future?
Well, with the gallery, we're about to go into Youth Art Month in March. So that'll be an open call for kids from kindergarten through 12th grade. And it can be anything, really. We've had kids that have doodled on notebook paper from 5 years old. As long as, and again, it's a learning process, learn how to mat it and to where we can hang it. We can clamp it on our art hanging system. And we've had kids from Yukon, Bridge Creek, Elgin. So outside of our county that we normally serve, we're bringing in kids from all different areas just to hang art. And then we do prize money for that and ribbons. So that's a cool thing. And we can probably have about 10 to 15 different schools represented there. So that's a lot of fun. That's coming up in March. And then after March in the gallery, we're going to be hosting a collegiate thing with Cameron University and USAO, up in Chickasha. So those two, and they're going to be the underclassmen students. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be a good working partnership with those two schools. And so I'm excited to have that one. That's with the art gallery. And then, of course, that's going to basically end our year, which then will roll into that call for art for Seatac members only. And that kind of ends our year for that. We do have a Seatac concert coming up in February 11th, Monty Montgomery. He's known to be a very good guitarist. He's been named as the top 50th guitarist down in Austin, and he's amazing from what I hear and what I've seen people post on Facebook. I've had a guy that's coming all the way from Alabama just to come see him. So I'm looking forward to watching him. And that's in February. We're ending our concert season in April with the OU School of Dance. They're coming. One cool thing about the concert series that we provide, if we can, is if that performer can provide an educational outreach, we'll try to do free matinees to schools and stuff. That's another way to bring in students and stuff and give them an opportunity to see and learn and experience something that they might not otherwise have an opportunity to have. So OU Dance will be here April 9th, and we'll do some kind of a workshop or something with area dance schools or something of that sort. So that's in April. So that's wrapping that up. We're already planning for our 22-23 season, so we're always a year and a half out planning, and Arts Explosion is always the third week of July, so that it's like the 18th through the 22nd, somewhere in there. And then art education in schools, where we should, hopefully, with this new variant, Danny Gordon is an artist, I believe, out of Oklahoma City, should be visiting Empire schools. Okay. So, artist in residence program there, so, which we need to get you in. We got you on our list. We're gonna get you in there. So
I'll be starting the Skirvin, and I'll be doing that until September sometime.
Okay.
So after my time is up, sign me up, and
okay.
I'd love to come down and be involved with you guys.
Absolutely.
As much as I can.
Okay.
Just like I said, just appreciate you and Ctec and everything that you guys have done. I've met so many people, through you, and you may think that you're just a little organization in Duncan, Oklahoma, but I've met people through you, and it's just been a really great experience just getting to know you and being involved with Seatac. So
that's awesome. Well,
is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, just if you want to come visit the gallery, it's 810 West Walnut, Duncan, Oklahoma, and we're our Facebook website, Chisholm Trail Arts Council, or ChisholmTrailArts.com, and we always appreciate new people coming in and share the promote and inspire the arts in Southwest Oklahoma. So,
all right,
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Darcy.
Thank you.
And I guess this is it.
Thank you so much.